Dave, when constructing your lineup for today, what made the most sense about having Edwin Rios as your DH getting his first postseason start?
I think I just love the balance in the lineup. I love Eddie in there as far as I think he can take a really good at bat against Suter with his mix, and just gives us the flexibility to fire Kike whenever we want to, and still have some lefties behind him. I still think that it just posed a little bit more problems, I think, the way we constructed it. And having CT down there, having Mookie behind him is also a good thing. So just speaks to how good those players are, our guys are.
When putting together your wild card roster, what went into the decision-making about having Gavin Lux off of it, but putting Matt Beatty as well as Terrence Gore on, and then also having Alex Wood and Dylan Floro sit this particular round out?
I think with T-Gore, it was more of we have the opportunity to carry an extra position player in the short series where pitching isn't necessarily, we don't need the extra arms. And so to be able to place him in a spot minus a run, even to kind of impact an inning, I think is very helpful. Luxie, I think that Gavin is certainly could change next series, and he's just such a really good player. But the lack of experience coming off the bench, I just don't think it was best for him right now. And as far as having Beatty, the experience, the bat off the bench, the bat to ball, I think is very helpful, especially some guys that they've got with velocity. And with Alex, I think that he and Flo would just, some of it was matchup driven. Some of it was we just don't really need the extra arms, and we went with the position players.
And when you think about the extra, you're carrying three catchers now. Keibert Ruiz, a left-hander as far as your catching is concerned, but also with the way that Will has been swinging the bat, how fortunate that Will can serve as that DH, but you still have Austin as well as Keibert to be able to catch and give you some offense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if you look at Austin potentially, or Austin catching tomorrow, and so if there's a situation where, we don't love the matchup and want somebody to hit for him, we still have that extra catcher and slide Will in there. So it just kind of gives me the flexibility to not overexpose ourselves with the catching.
Finally, for me, Dave, the Brewers unfortunately lose Williams to a shoulder issue. One of the best parts of the back end of their bullpen. Is the key for you guys still to be able to get some runs off of their starters before you get to that bullpen, because they do still have Hader to deploy?
Yeah, I think it is. It really is. And I think it's still a short series, but the more you can see guys in the first game, the better it is in games 2 and 3. So the more we can up their usage, I think that we'll be in a good place.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Next question is from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dylan.
With Walker Buehler, obviously it's no secret he didn't come into summer camp in the best of shape. Could you just kind of describe the challenges that you guys and he faced in terms of, getting him built up in kind of that short camp, and then having to kind of sustain that over the last month when he's had that blister issue?
It's been, and I would say for Walker, I would probably say that it's been his most trying season. And you mentioned the late ramp up into summer camp. And then I think, 4 or 5 starts ago, we had him in a really good spot, I thought, and he was throwing his best of the season, of the year. And then the blister kind of showed its face. So right now he's done a great job of trying to keep his arm moving. We've got it covered, and we don't have it covered. So today I think that just the lens of understanding we need him for the next 4 series to win the World Series, and how we kind of go about that. So it's an inning to inning. We got to make sure that we get through tonight in a positive situation, because sometimes, or most of the times with the blister, once you see it and it kind of shows itself again, then it's too late. So it's kind of threading the needle, and I'm going to be really dependent on our training staff for Walker tonight.
And I apologize if this got asked, earlier in the season, but in terms of, what he was doing kind of after spring training shut down to the start of summer camp. Was there anything in particular that kept him from, throwing or working out or any of that?
No, there was nothing physical. It was more of, I think that we just made a choice as an organization because we didn't know when we were going to get started again. So to essentially shut Walker down, where there were some other guys as far as pitchers that continued to throw through quarantine, but we just chose, and then that's kind of what we decided. And to be quite honest, I thought it was a great plan, and it was really kind of playing out perfectly until the blister kind of came about.
Okay, so that was an organizational decision and not any kind of negligence on his part.
It was all of us, and I think Walker probably drove that, but I think that the logic was there.
Thank you.
Next question is from JP Hornstra. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. Got a little bit of a surprise announcement from Major League Baseball this afternoon saying that there will be fans in the stands in the National League Championship Series and the World Series. And I'm just wondering, from a player's perspective, is everybody so accustomed to the fake crowds and the fake noise that if you get there, introducing fans into the middle of the postseason would be an adjustment in itself?
I think it would be an adjustment, but I think it would be so welcomed by everyone. And I applaud the players for getting through this without fans. And it is sort of like a new normal, and guys are used to it. And I do believe that the playoff format and what's at stake, the adrenaline is certainly going to take over. And just me watching games today and yesterday, you see the emotion, which is great. But man, teams that get to that situation and have fans, it's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Next question is from Eric Searing. Go ahead. Next question is from Rowan Kavner. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. Walker's obviously risen to the occasion in a lot of these big kind of spotlight moments, but how important was it for you to see that last outing from him of the year, just to be able to actually see him get through the blister and perform well, just in your confidence for naming him the game one starter?
You know what? It was good, but for me, I didn't really need to see it. It was helpful. I just really believe in Walker. I think more for anyone, it was good for Walker to see it and go through that and have success. So we all feel really good about it, and just want him to go out there and execute pitches like like he can.
Thanks.
Next question is from Mark Castillo. Go ahead.
You mentioned the emotions you're seeing from watching these games on television, but what do you expect here today? Do you expect it to be quote unquote playoff atmosphere, electric? I know. What do you expect out there without fans?
I do. And I think that we're certainly not pulling from the fan emotion, but just in our clubhouse, guys are relaxed. They're preparing. And so everything that you would want from a ball club.
And did you guys have any suspicion about this Devin Williams injury at all? And did it affect how you constructed the roster ultimately?
Did not affect how we put the roster together. As they were done, sort of submitted simultaneously. It changes what we've prepared, but that's a blow to them. But I think, again, for us, we just got to go out there regardless of who's on the mound, understand what they're trying to do, and take good at-bats. But it just, again, Jorge, it just comes down to us playing good baseball.
Just how much baseball have you watched in the last 24 hours?
I've watched bits and pieces. I might have the Padres-Cardinals game on right now in my office, but that's about it.
Thank you.
Got a question from Bill Shaikin. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave. I just wanted to ask you, as you walked around town this morning to get your coffee, and then as you walked into the ballpark today and you were on the field during batting practice, what made it seem like a playoff day and what made it seem completely different?
Well, I didn't get the opportunity to walk around town. We're all in a bubble. So from the hotel to the ballpark, it seemed like summer camp. It seemed like every day. But when you walk into the clubhouse, there's a heightened energy, a little bit more of a focus and readiness. And I say that a little bit in jest as far as summer camp, but it's been the same, to be quite honest, since we've been in this bubble and kind of all of our lives this season.
Thank you.
Let's try this again. Go ahead, Eric.
Dave, sorry if I missed this earlier, but with Dylan Floro, he was pitching some big innings for you down the stretch. What went into the decision to lead him off? Was it more matchup driven?
You know what? Matchup driven on one of the extra position player, Eric, that was a very difficult one. Dylan has the respect of everyone in the organization, and he's earned it. And, you know, a lot of times I sit here and talk about performance matters, but in this case, ultimately he performed and still doesn't have the opportunity. But I do look forward to him, you know, shall we advance for him to continue to be on rosters going forward. And he was upset, and he had every right to be upset.
Thanks.
We got time for one more. Go ahead, Jim.
I'm off mute. Yeah, Dave, one thing about not having fans tonight, you're not going to have those roars out of nowhere when the Lakers do something. What about the whole idea that you guys are playing, the Lakers are opening their series, and it's kind of a big day and a big week in LA sports?
It's, Jimmy, it's great for this city. The city needs it. I think that if you look at baseball, 8 games today, our country needs it. It's very therapeutic. It's a diversion. As far as specifically to the city of LA, the split screens, that's channel, last channel flashback, that's going to be happening a lot. I think it's just it's fun for our fans to kind of have, the city's big enough for all of us. So it's going to be a fun night. Fortunately, I'll be on the field, not paying attention to the Lakers, but as a fan, LA sports fan, it's a perfect night, I'm assuming.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.